We are in beautiful San Diego.
Warm San
Maybe
Diego.
in beautiful Asheville as well, because it's probably not -9 there either. It's cold, pretty cold. Siobhan's saying it's pretty cold there too. So we're very, very lucky in that it's cold. It's in the 40s, I think, probably. But, you don't freeze in 40. You don't get frostbite in 40. And our unsheltered friends can still be a little bit okay. So I suppose if you're unsheltered, you're never really okay. But we know that there are people in cars, people that we are contributing to feed at least once a month. Lynn's going to be heading that. We're going to be talking some more about that both in the newsletter. You'll be getting an email from Lynn, who's over there in my left corner. I don't know where she is for you guys. She's hanging out. There she goes. Lynn has offered to coordinate our efforts, EMC's efforts, which I'm very, very grateful for, Lynn.
So I did hear, an email will be going out to everyone during this week. And I also did hear, I'll say now, from the Philabelly organization, they desperately need small size toiletries and small size packets of tissues and things of that nature right now.
Okay, we have them.
Low on that.
We have them. So we will get I have a whole bag collected. I will make sure that I bring that on Saturday.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We just met in our board meeting yesterday, and a wagon is on the way.
Oh, good.
Yes, for
That'll be
Lynn, so that
helpful.
she can get all those compostable items that we are going to prefer to use in our Philabelly turns, and then manage the trash for that a little better. We're going to be talking about those kinds of things too. This is all the good that comes from one act of kindness. Somebody's saying Philabelly could use some help. You guys could be a substitute. So lots of good came from that one suggestion, that one request. Now we've been there a couple times, different parts of us, and now once as a community, and we're going to continue that every month. We were already booked now through June, so this is very exciting. And I'm going to ask that those of you who are here participate, because it will be to your benefit, greater than it will be, no doubt, to the benefit of those who are eating and receiving those toiletries. And we've already had that experience and can't wait to do it again. And so today's Tuesday, something like the 21st. Is it 21st-ish? 21st. We're on the 21st. Yesterday was Martin Luther King's celebration, as well as President Trump's inauguration. And I thought that was an amazing holding of two, for me, fairly disparate perspectives. And I see the joining of that as my work. I don't see that as anybody else's work. I don't see that as Trump's work. I see really, how do I see the good, contribute to that, and stay on the side of the essential Dharma. And we're going to be talking about that here today. So I wanted to share first the whole of the 4 Bodhisattva vows that I've decided that we're going to talk about it, because that is the third knot, as we understand it, in your blessing cord. And in the blessing cord, you are offered these knots as essential refuge, protection, guard. And so we assign to those knots, if you will, phrases, mantras. You could call them chants. You could call them repetitive phrases that inspire and support us in our everyday life. That's why you wear the cord. You wear the cord every day as a reminder that not only am I committing to these things, which is one direction, I've committed to this, and we're going to talk about what we're committing to in the Bodhisattva vows, or your own vow, which is just as valuable, and also what you are being protected in. That this is not only refuge for others, this isn't support for others, this isn't a good idea for others, it's actually the very best thing you could be doing as a protection and a support for you. Does anybody not understand how that could be so? That in the act of serving others, giving a warm meal to others, collecting toiletries for others, collecting for monies for St. Andrews, we just are going to be, Carrie's going to get the privilege of writing a check for $3,000 to the firefighters emergency relief fund so that we can help buy heat shields and special thermal water packs for the firefighters in LA who are still continuing, aren't they? This is not over. My mother called me at 9:30 last night saying she was getting ready to evacuate Hemet, that there was a fire in Hemet. They didn't know the winds were serious there. They didn't know if she, and that she was needing to stand by. I asked her to leave immediately. Not to stay to listen for announcements all night and have to be distressed all night, but to get right out of there so that at her age, she didn't have to try to figure out once this word came how to navigate herself. And remember, we already understood in the early fires in LA, this is us too. Right? We understood that. This is not something up there. In several writings, we talk about this concept of across the other shore, that the news from across the other shore seems irrelevant, doesn't it? Like, well, you know, it's windy up there, it's cold over there, it's something there, but I'm okay. And the truth really is in these vows that we're going to look at now, you can't be, can you? It's just not possible. It doesn't mean you have family there. It doesn't mean you have friends there. It doesn't mean you know anyone there. And yet you know everyone there, don't you? You know everyone. You know my mother, who might get confused and not be able to take best care of herself. You know those young people who go, probably no big deal. I'll just wait it out. I'll get the garden hose. It'll be fine. You know those people worried about their pets and their kids and their plants, right? You do, because you are us, all of us too. So that third knot is both a protection for oneself, a refuge for oneself, as well as then the acts, these very basic, I read something in the board meeting yesterday that says the everyday heroes are the ones that have made all the difference. The everyday heroes. And the one that struck me, that brought me to tears, was that Rosa Parks decided to sit down and not keep standing up. One action, right? And it wasn't remarkable, and she didn't plan on it, and she didn't think she was going to get on TikTok, and she didn't imagine a 15-second fame, right? Did she? She didn't guess she was going to become an influencer. She didn't imagine, right, any of this. She just did what there was to be done in that particular moment in time. And it began an entire movement that we're still working on and with today. The Bodhisattva vow And we don't have to have a special word like Bodhisattva, just comes from the traditions we're investigating. We could simply say kind, caring human being, couldn't we? It's just more words. And so they have come up with Bodhi, meaning enlightened, committed, um, awakening for the purpose, not only of oneself, but for all beings. And we're going to talk about where that works and where that doesn't work. But here are the vows. And I have the 4 Bodhisattva vows at the top. And we reviewed the first last Saturday. Beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. And we have to be careful about the ego that climbs into that very first vow as then I'd be impressive, then I'd have it going on, then I'd be somebody, then I'd be worthy, then I'd be enough. It is not true. Beings are numberless means it is also including you. We often think of numberless really as so many that it cannot be counted. I see numberless in a whole different way. I see numberless as no exceptions, including you, right? Numberless in this way, that there is continuous exchange between us and the world, us and the plants, us and the oceans, right? Us and others, numberless, because it is continuous, isn't it? It is continuous. And so it is uncountable, but that we are also counted within it, right? So there's number 1. We talked about that. We also talked about what liberate means. And liberate doesn't mean save them in a way that is pulling someone out of the drowning river in a real sense, but offering something that could contribute, right? And we often, our egoic selves often imagine that liberate means saving in some special, fantastic, cymbal clanging, right? And then I jumped down into the L subway and grabbed the person. But this is egoic at best. And really what we're talking about are these small acts, which are much harder because no one notices them except the person to whom, for whom you have offered them. And that always happens. And you know this because you remember them too, right? The guy who bent down quickly in a bank over 40 years ago to pick up all the papers and the pens I had dropped. I never knew his name. I never saw the man's face. Not ever. And effortlessly, without any, right, not just gathered them up, patted me, was gone. It was like an angel had appeared because there was nothing. The exchange was already complete. He didn't have to say, everything was already perfect. And that was over 40 years ago. And I remember that person and call them to mind when I decide that my own actions, however small, are not sufficient. I remember this, right? And I'm talking to you about it now, right? I hope this person is safe and well, right? So this is what we mean by liberate, these small acts. And when we say liberate them, we're actually also once again talking about ourselves, as long as we remember. Afflictions arise endlessly. I vow to relieve them. I love this one. This is the truth of suffering and the truth that there are causes to suffering and that all suffering, no matter how afflictive, no matter how difficult, no matter how appearedly unresolvable, can be relieved. And this is an important one for me because sometimes, don't we can become overwhelmed by the truth of suffering. Like there's just no way, there's just too many, there's just too much. And we drown ourselves then, don't we? We drown ourselves in this idea that if we can't do it all, and then somehow all at once, or perfectly, or every time, or right, just think about all the conditions you have put in place that make this vow impossible. Afflictions arise endlessly. I vow to relieve them. And that simply means offering as best we can. And we don't trust it. We don't believe it. We don't believe it's sufficient. And so we don't do it. Then we don't do it, right? Harming really, once again, everyone. And so that's two of them. I'll read the others and then we'll sit. The Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to realize them. The Dharma gate that's boundless is there is complete interconnectedness, complete interdependency, complete connection between you and all things. You and all things. So that if you don't know that, there is only one dilemma. It's not in the things, is it? No dilemma there. The ocean did not forget. The plant did not forget. Only you forgot. Complete interconnection, interbeing between you and all of life. And so if you are not in recognition of that, something is blinding you. Now, is that a problem? No, not when we remember we're blind. Then you just know. You go, blind, there I am, can't see it. I know it's here. I'm trusting it's here. This is where our faith and our confidence actually step in. It is an unmutable, always throughout all time, to go on forever, never ending reality. And we forget about 100,000 times a day, don't we? At least, right? 60,000 breaths, I don't know. We're forgetting 58 of them, 1,000 of them, that this truth is essential and guides then everything else we ever do. Everything from how we get up in the morning to how we make our tea to how we drink it. Wouldn't it change everything if you knew that your connection to everything, including the cup you're holding, including the tea you're drinking, including those who made the tea, who shipped the tea, who was right here, and that only you could be deluded to not know or see its truth? Essential, a very big one as well. And then the final awakening is attainable. I love this one also. But when? Any and every moment, right? Not lifetimes later, not next year, not when I get my new car, not when I lose 20 pounds, not when I get the new job, not when none of it. There are no conditions around this. Awakening is attainable. I vow to achieve it fully. Just now, just this moment, just now. Right? And then we smile because yes, it's available right here, right now. The Dharma available right here, right now. The truth of interconnection right here, right now. The truth of suffering that can be relieved once we understand its causes right here and now. And the fact that we all are deserving. We all are deserving of it. And that's that third knot, and includes whatever vow whatever language, whatever feelings you could put into that third knot to remember this, right? Then we do that too. I pass this around on Saturday. I have some more copies for anybody. Is there anything before we sit about this? I wanted to make sure we got through it today. We'll talk about it some more on Saturday, but I will be gone after that for the month. And so I want to make sure we cover this in a way that we can continue to investigate it, inquire, and look for its evidence, right, in our everyday life. Just like those neighbors of Courtney's, right, who did this very small thing, said, we'll turn on your water, right? And it matters. And then Courtney feels like she matters. And then she feels gratitude, appreciation, and care for them. And then they can feel like they matter because it's all true. Isn't it? It's all true. And so this is the possibility, is that we just get opportunities again and again to see the truth. And then we sit quietly, silently, intentionally, so that we can not only know it from here, but translate the knowing of that into the whole body. It's called embodying, that we can know it so well, that we can reflect on it so continuously, that we can breathe it into every cell, every hair, so that it becomes an essential, immutable reality, right? And we already know if we don't do that, even when our intentions are good, the mind becomes unstable, impure, and distracted from that. And so that instead of those guides, we are lost for moments in what about this? What about that? How come they? Why not me? Right? We go into thinking small self thinking that ends up causing critical harm, and beginning with us. Okay, everybody get those? Yeah. There is a formal ceremony that you can participate in to take the Bodhisattva vow. We have done it at least once, twice maybe. Once with Lama Kathy, and then another time, or twice with Lama Kathy. Yes, once at Alley's with Lama Kathy, and once at the Unitarian Church with Lama Kathy. And then there have been several other teachers who have offered those as well. We can talk about time. For now, it would certainly be good enough to call these truths to mind. Okay, anything else to say before we start sitting? So let's prepare to sit. And however you might establish an open-hearted posture, do that. And then a posture of reverence, a posture of devotion, a posture of humility, a posture of nobility. Look at all that goes into this, setting oneself. Setting oneself. And after we set the body, we direct the heart mind towards those essential dharmas, towards those truths. I'm sitting not only for myself and for myself as well, stabilizing my mind, opening my heart, climbing into this body will make the day better for everyone. And then we'll sit silently for at least 15 minutes. Beings are numberless. I vow to liberate them. Or we could say, I vow to liberate us all. Afflictions are endless. I vow to relieve them, to heal them, to soothe them, to contribute to their end. The Dharma gates are vast and boundless. I vow to turn towards the truth every breath, to abide it whether I like it or not, and to incorporate it into the next moment and the rest of my life. I stand in the truth. Awakening is attainable. I vow to undertake it now. Now. And forever. Now. And may these vows and this practice continue and grow. Until all beings are free. So be it. And so, what thoughts or questions?
What is the right path?
What is the right path? How can it be known, Dennis? How
Well,
can
feel it in my heart, and if I feel it in my heart, then perhaps that is the right path.
we could only know the right path by being fully present to the moment we're in, right? Both for ourselves, which is what you're saying, how I am right now, but also how the situation I'm in is also, right? Otherwise, we would make uh, this idea of right based solely on our own individual compass point. And it's relevant and it matters, but it is not all there is. It is also what is around me, what is happening here, right? So in my heart, my desire for safety, for example, for my mother is very heart held. I want this completely for her. I would do whatever I could to contribute. And I also accept the fact that on the way to Hemet, there may be others, maybe in a more dire situation, maybe in a different circumstance where now I'm called to this in a way that is most immediate, most right, right? It doesn't mean I've changed the aspiration for my mother. And well, what's right now is to stop to help those people in that burning car, mightn't it? Right? And that really is the same heart, isn't it? It's the same heart. It just might not be enacted or embodied in exactly the same way. Well, because what every moment is new. Every moment, who knows what's and how to live it. But with the heart pointed in that direction, towards the understanding of interconnectedness, interdependence, exchange of self for other all the time, then I trust whatever you're going to come up with. Right? Whether you stay or help or whether you don't. And they can all be correct, can't they? It can actually all be correct. There's no post-scripted um, idea of what that would look like. We don't establish that. And some of my best ideas about how to help, by the way, or how to contribute or how to be of benefit when I got into the situation didn't look one thing like that. Not even a little. But the heart was still there, the commitment was still there, but then the how became completely. So, right path when? Only now. Right. Only now, because I can't know the next moment any better than you do. And I don't presume to be able to guess. But yes, I think the heart mind pointed towards those vows is always of benefit. And then we don't know. I think we have to rest in that as well, don't we? Like, I don't know how that's going to manifest today. Exactly. I know that it will manifest because I'm wholly committed to that. And what exactly that will look like, I wouldn't dare guess. It will be greater than your or my imagination, is what I do. It's what I do. I don't know how. I don't know what that will be. But that's okay. We don't have to, really, do we? I don't think so. No. And again, even when we decide to make the cookies, as I did yesterday, right? I said, oh, I got this and I got this. I'm going to make some cookies. Well, that'll be a good thing. You know, I'll save them for blah, 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 blah. It didn't end up being the right thing. There were other things that were of greater benefit. And some of them included doing less, but being more. Right. And I did less. I didn't make cookies during some of that being of benefit, but I listened. I reminded somebody that they could be okay. They were going to be okay, even in this hard time. Right. So who could know how that would live?
Diana.
Yes, Siobhan, good morning.
Good morning. Just the other day, I was reading something from Thich Nhat Hanh where it was like a paragraph where he was talking about how we, on the spiritual path, we want to be honest and tell the truth with our loved ones, our partners, our friends. But he said, but wait a minute, is what you're about to say, are you mindful enough to notice, are they ready to hear what you are going to say? Is it going to be helpful in this moment for them and you? It just reminds me again of what we're talking about the right path. You have to really weigh it, really, like you say, be present in each circumstance.
Completely. Otherwise, you're going to miss it, aren't you? You're going to have a great idea that's going to go bad very quickly, aren't you? And you decide today's the day that I'm going to say that I'm done with this marriage. That just happened yesterday here in my office. And there was no way. Now, by the way, it's true. So that's one of the criterion, but it is not timely for any number of reasons. This one happened to be that person's parent is dying. Right? Well, true. And well, then how can I be of benefit now was what I was doing with that other. What can you do now because you have 28 years with this person? So even though you don't know if you're going 28 more with them, out of that care, out of that committed life, out of that family, out of knowing that person, even who's dying for, half of your lifetime, is this the moment? Is this the one? Probably not. Doesn't make it less true. Right? And it doesn't matter actually whether we keep that contract or we don't keep that contract. Our contract to being of benefit, to being a good person, to being there for the other, really in all kinds of ways, right? Other ways, though not in some, are not relevant today. Whether you're going to sleep in the same bed or not's not even the point today. No problem. You can hold that. And can you be there for this person who's going through a significant loss? And she really wanted to, by the way. She just felt like there was a conflict. Like, how do I do that if this is true? I don't know how to do that if this, well, if they were the neighbor, you would, wouldn't you? So do you have to be married to them? Or do you have to decide you want to continue in that marriage in order to regard them and the suffering they're in? Well, of course not. Of course not, right? This is why we don't, right? So you got to be careful that you think, well, because it's true, I have to say it now, or because we're not going to be something, I can't be caring towards you, right? It wouldn't mean that. So that confusion, I think sometimes we get in our way, don't we? With roles and rules and definitions and, well, if I'm not this, what does that mean? And I think we create some of that for ourselves. I try to think of what would anybody do, you know? What would anybody do in this situation? Not me, this role, you, that role. What would anybody do if you fell down? Well, you'd help them up. That's what you'd do, wouldn't you? What about that? There's just some basics there. And we forget in our confusion, don't we? We forget about those basics. And really, the vows are just simply a way to remember the basics, I think, probably. Really, right? Probably. Just the basics. Like, not exactly, you got to do it this way, or you can't do it that way, or, right? I think we got more room than we give ourselves for the path that Dennis is talking about. I think it's wide, Dennis. I think it's wide. I think it's deep. I don't think it's narrow and brittle. And, you got to just do it like that. I think it's so big. It's bigger than we could possibly imagine. And that might be, we could simply maybe say then, all the ways to love. And wouldn't it be boundless? Wouldn't it? Well, that's your path. There's your path. Boundless love. Unmeasurable love. Love beyond anybody's idea of what that could possibly look like till you were there. Right? And then we don't get so scared. Right? That maybe I'll get it wrong, or maybe it's bigger than me, or that care was certainly not bigger than this person at all. She just went, is that the right thing to do if what I'm going to be doing later is not doing this? Yeah, actually, yeah. If somebody's artery were cut, whether you were married to them or not, you'd put pressure there, wouldn't you? You wouldn't go, well, I don't know. I'm not going to be married to them. Right? There you'd go. If their hair was on fire, you'd put it out. Right? And we just see how we cluster up for ourselves, don't we? Well, right. I've had people say this very same thing in what we call these conditional relationships. It comes up a lot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it in my office. So then I have, and these examples because you've done them yourself, which is, well, they're going to be divorcing. So do I have to invite him to the Christmas party? This is the kind, right? Conditional. Well, do you like them? Do you care about them? Will you care about them tomorrow, even after they're divorced? Then you don't have to worry about this. You invite them, let them work that out. Right? That's theirs. You don't have to climb into that going, well, she'll be uncomfortable because she's already told me she's leave. Well, nope, you don't need to worry about that. You just get to be the caring person you are. You leave the rest to someone else. Once my dad dies, another thing just came up. Well, once my dad dies, I'll never talk to her again. I'm like, well, then you probably shouldn't be talking to her now. you probably should be honest about it now. You probably should say, I don't, right? Whatever's true is still true. What do you do it? Well, for dad. Really? Probably not. Probably not. Not really. So yet we have to be careful. I think we construct these dilemmas, I think, for ourselves in a way, right? Can we continue to be honest and as caring as we can be, even in those relationships that don't last forever, or we didn't pick them, or you know, whatever's happening.
One more thing.
Yes.
I'm always so amazed. I have a friend and neighbor here in North Carolina next door, and she's an avid Trump supporter. And you would not believe how much we love and care for each other and all the things we do for each other to show that. Just
Yeah.
from our hearts, no thinking.
That's right.
It always tweaks my head a bit because I sometimes go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
what's happening?
Yeah.
But
how is it possible that we could have such different ideas?
yeah.
Yeah. Because our humanness is bigger.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. And that is what we are both expressing.
That's right. Isn't it?
It's amazing, actually.
Yeah. It's
It
delightful.
surprises me all the time.
How spectacular that is actually the bigger truth we're all sitting in, right? We're going on this 30-day trip, half of it or more, with somebody who are avid Trump supporters. By the way, not a problem for me at all. I know their goodness. I know they're good people. I know they take care of their family. I know they take care of others. I know they genuinely care for us as we genuinely care for them. I just twizzle every time this person says anything because I'm like, you actually think that is going to get to this? This is interesting to me. But it's just an idea, right? It's just simply an idea. Yes. And he says, yes, I do. I do think that is going to be better and lead to better this. And I'm like, wow, I don't have that reality, but interesting and maybe even important to hear it. Right? Maybe even important to hear it because we are not only our thoughts about immigration, we are not only our beliefs about, right, whether somebody put their hand on the Bible or they didn't put their hand on the Bible during the inauguration, right? We're all larger than this. And we are larger, Siobhan, as you are recognizing with your neighbor in our humanness, isn't it? And that's the wide, deep, vast, boundless path. Because in the end, we are all that, aren't we? With the little particulars along the way, only making for an interesting narrative. Right, that's all. So, right? And then we feel a little encouraged, like, I could do this human thing. There's some possibilities here for me, since I am already, right? So we have Greg on Thursday, here in the garden on Saturday, and then Sunday with Gia or Jessica. I'm not sure who will be guiding that. We will have looks like now we're going to be going to a special, we'll talk more about it later, half day and all day at the Dome on March 29th. That's the last Saturday in March at the Dome. And we'll be talking about a special offering that I am making that EMC is not making. They are separate from this. So I will be putting something about that out in a newsletter from me, not EMC. This is separate. So we'll be talking about that a little more. Okay, everyone. So good to see you, Courtney. So good to see you. I hope everyone there as well. Yes. Let's gather ourselves for a moment for the Bodhisattva prayer. May I be a guard for those who need protection, a guide for those on the path, a boat, a raft, a bridge for those who wish to cross the flood. May I be a lamp in the darkness, a resting place for the weary, a healing medicine for all who are sick, a vase of plenty, a tree of miracles. And for the boundless multitudes of living beings, may I bring sustenance and awakening, enduring like the earth and the sky, until all beings are free from sorrow and all are awakened. May we all have happiness and the causes for happiness. May we all be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May we be grateful and glad for our good fortune and use that good fortune to the benefit of all beings. May we rest and dwell in this vast, wide, open, and boundless good heart until all beings are free from affliction. And may it be so this very day. So be it. Thank you and love to you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Make it so. I know you will. Thank you, everyone.